Hi, welcome back. I don't know how to start this video. So, on the last video, we were talking about journals. We didn't really go into depth with journals. I wanted to speak more about that topic as well as just why a journal. Like I mentioned before, I don't consider myself a writer. Well, actually, I do. I am a writer. Maybe not a professional writer, but I am a writer. And before I begin this whole discussion that I will be having with my future self, I guess I wanted to talk about how writer me and speaker me are very different. Writer me is more intellectual, not intellectual. She's more articulate. She knows how to put my thoughts into words. As for speaker me, she's just a whole bunch of bananas. I'm usually more of a listener than a speaker. Although when it comes to homework, or yeah, mainly homework and school, I have to put this sort of like persona, very, I guess, energetic type of person, and my voice is much louder, more, I guess you could say, kinder. It's more kind. I don't, since I'm usually, the majority of the time I'm alone, in the mornings. I don't speak at all. I'm mainly just thinking in my head, cleaning. I don't really speak, and I'm not a big fan of speaking because I enjoy knowing what I'm gonna say. I don't just want to react just because I can or speak because I can. I enjoy knowing what I'm gonna say because you can't just be saying things just to say them. You actually gotta know what you're talking about. Not in the way of intellectually knowing what you're talking about, just I just don't want to say a whole bunch of bananas that I won't even understand myself. I will probably, but that's not the point. So I wanted to speak about journals or journaling. I know many people believe that journaling or writing is just for when you are having a rough time or a hard time. I will admit I did do that for a while, a few months. Not this year, around 2 years ago, I did that. But as time progressed, I started making it more of a routine. Not just on the days that I was feeling off, but even on the good days. It's actually nice sometimes going back to some writings or journal entries or reflections where I was having a normal day, good day, neutral day. I don't expect happy days. I'm more of a person that I just want peace, not happy. So journaling, I've come to love it. I write even on the days that I do not want to write. There's been a lot of days where I don't have the energy to write, or sometimes I don't even know what to write. And on those days, I try to write about what I'm grateful for. About actually, I have something that I actually do every day. So I dedicated around, I don't know, for each month. I have these months listed, just good things that happened. I have to write one good thing that happened on that day, and I have them marked right here actually. So I'm actually finished with the month of January, February, March, April. We're almost done with May, so I'm kind of excited to start a new month again once more. So to keep in the habit of writing every day, you will wait. So as I was saying, I dedicated a few pages. Well, not a few pages. Each month I numbered it by the days that the month has. So it's kind of a way for me to write every day, even if it's not a lot. I still write. I have a few days where not on the good things, but on just the normal pages. where I'm just like, oh, I don't feel like writing today. I don't feel good, or no, not. I'm sorry, sis. I have a little brother, and he's a little chucky, so I'll be right back. So as I was saying, I kind of forgot what I was trying to say. So even on the days where I do not feel like writing, or just because I usually write a lot, I know many people think, oh, what should I write about? Do I have to write something meaningful? Well, the things that you are writing about, even small or big, they are meaningful because they are you. They're your thought process. They are your adventures. Maybe adventures. It's not like, oh, I went to this place, blah blah blah. Adventures is just the way you think, the interactions you had. I usually write a lot about my interactions with strangers because I tend to have a lot of those, mainly with old people. Not old people, but people much older than me. And honestly, those are one of the most fulfilling type of interactions where it's like, I don't care if I don't befriend anybody, but as long as I keep having these kinds of conversations with random strangers, the depth that the depth and the thought-provoking conversations that you can have with a total stranger are just beautiful. They're conversations that if you don't have someone like a parent or a friend in which you can talk about things that make people uncomfortable, or yes, there's not a lot of people that are open-minded or that go to the depths of certain topics because they either think it's not that deep. And it's not about being deep, it's about being true, it's about figuring things out. It's so much more about just it being deep. You can learn new things not only about yourself, but about the people around you, your brain process, a lot of things. Like I said, my grammar me and my speaking me very different. And so yeah, I forgot I was gonna say something. So I actually wanted to share, I guess, a few journal entries or reflections that I have on my journal. That way you guys can see the difference between speaker me and writer me. It's very different. I will say I do majority of the time I do write like this, but a big small percentage of me sometimes just writes the most randomest things. Sometimes I write um about dreams that I have, about, or sometimes when I feel overstimulated, or if I saw a really pretty cloud, I just do it. Sometimes even make it into poems, which is kind of fun. I have poems here as well, reflections, all sorts of stuff. So the blank pages are the months in which I write good things. So I will pick a random page. Of course, if it's a page about something that I don't want to talk about, I will not. Okay. Okay. So I also read a lot about my faith in God. I am not religious. I think I said that on the first video of life update. So I don't know. Okay. I think I will read to you guys about. Okay, I will write about this. So this was on, sorry, on April 18th of this year. This was supposed to go on my other journal, on my journal for God, but I forgot that I had this, so I didn't write it. And sometimes when I'm in the moment, I forget that I have my other journal for that. So it says, Dear God, I have just finished praying to you, and though I am fully aware that you know all that resides within me, every thought, every decision, and every word before it leaves my lips, I still find comfort in expressing myself through pen and paper. There's a quiet clarity that writing brings, even when I know you already understand me entirely. Lately, I felt that certain emotions, when allowed to settle within me, can hinder the progress I'm striving to make for the sake of my well-being and those I hold dear. I understand that I am in a tender phase of growth, who, where I feel everything more deeply and am increasingly attuned to my inner world. Yet, even with this awareness, I sometimes feel disappointed in myself for allowing these emotions in. I find myself lacking patience, particularly with those who deserve it most, my family. I struggle with sincerity at times, guided by selfish motives or by what I believe is right, though I hold no authority to judge what is truly right or wrong. In this, I recognize my hypocrisy. I am a contradictory, con- I am a contradictory being, ever changing and learning. There are moments when I'm unsure whether my actions stem from genuine feelings or from a sense of duty, because I know what is good or expected. For instance, yesterday I received a compliment. I did not say thank you because it felt as though acknowledging it would it would reveal arrogance, as though I believed myself to be beautiful. Instead, I returned a compliment to the person because it was true and because it felt more sincere coming from me. Perhaps in doing so, I answer my own questions. We humans have a tendency to complicate things, don't we? I imagine you must have smiled at that. I saw your hand in something yesterday, so gently placed yet so obvious. You reminded me that I still have much to improve, especially in how I speak of others. I caught myself mid sentence, and while I was grateful for the awareness, the aha already occurred. I know that I am not striving for perfection, for I am human, and that very nature is my greatest imperfection. But still, I want to become the best version of myself, even if it requires me to let go of fleeting pleasures or people who no longer nourish my spirit. And then I started talking about someone who is very dear to me. They're no longer in my life. They are alive, but they're no longer in my physical life. Just, I guess you could say, they are emotionally and just here with me, but no longer, I guess you could say, my friend. So I will not mention the person's name. I know the person won't see it, but the person's name is very sacred to me. I don't know if that makes sense, but. And speaking of people, God, why did you take blank away from my path? I have a few theories, and I do not mean to sound ungrateful, but I cannot help but wonder. Sometimes the memories I have with them feel too beautiful, almost unreal, like scenes from a dream I made up. He gave me such a profound and meaningful connection, one that felt divinely orchestrated. I still write in the journal they gifted me, letters, poems, reflections. To be honest, I think I could have gone through life with only their friendship and felt complete. Could be wrong, only you know the truth in that thought. Still, I thank you. Recently, though, I've come to a realization, one I believe you gently guided me toward. Had this person never left my life, I wouldn't have been open to the bond forming now with a new individual you brought into my path. I likely would have never spoken to them the way I have, never shared the small moments that have slowly stitched a quiet closeness between us. They had asked me several times if they could drive me to school, and each time I politely declined, telling them if it is God's will, you'll give me as your passenger. And then, just like that, the next time I had school, they became my driver, and their passenger. That was the moment something began to grow, something simple yet meaningful. And I see now that this connection too was no accident. Perhaps this is how you're teaching me the strength of unconditional love that I hold with that hold within the power to offer it freely again and again. It's only a hypothesis, but one I'm willing to explore. There's so much more I could share with you, but for today I will end here. I know you never find my letter. I know you never find my letters worrisome, and for that I am grateful. Thank you for the gift of expression, for the ability to take the intangible and shape it into words. With love, me. So, I guess I was writing this because I don't even remember how. I'm just trying to understand, I guess, what is happening around my life, and currently that is what I've been doing, writing into letters to God. It's more of a, I don't know, it's kind of like writing to a parental figure, kind of. It feels that way, I would like to say. Um, I've, I'm not someone who, I guess, could say, oh, I am very open to people. You know, if they're willing to talk, I will listen. But I'm not very big on just opening myself to anyone in this kind of form. Though I've been learning to, if you know, if they allow me to do so. And you know, I've only met one person, and I could say the other person I was talking about that. My mind just went blank. Anyways, I will share one more journal entry or reflection, whatever, which everyone lands. This one landed because I think it was in the middle of it. I don't know which one. Oh, I just wanted to share. I know which one I want to share. Um, I read books. Oh wow, I read books. Yeah. So I've been reading, just like writing. I've been reading from a very young age. I find so much joy and passion when it comes to reading, writing. They're just things that make me so happy. It's kind of like it was meant for me. So I not recently I started reading more of self-help books, philosophy, more essays. I'm not really more English literature, I guess you could say so. Nonfiction. I think it's nonfiction. I'm not. I wouldn't call myself a bookworm, but I am. I have a whole library in my room. I have a bookshelf, a rolling bookshelf with a bunch of books. I would love to have every single book that I've read since I was a kid. Fortunately, I cannot. But there's this book that I got, well, not got, that I rented. Would it be rented or borrowed from school that I loved. I honestly, I hope and I wish to find it someday. Not at the store, but at least buy it on Amazon. This video is not sponsored by Amazon, but I know Amazon has a lot of books that the stores do not have. So it is called The Wisdom of the Heart by Henry Miller. There's a quote that I wrote that I really loved. I remember sharing this with that dear friend of mine. This book, this was the first time I read this kind of type of book. Never been one to read about self-reflection or the way other people think. I've always been the writer, not the reader. So I want to share with a quote that I loved and that really resonated with me. So it goes like this: to be is to have mortal conditions, to struggle, to evolve. Paradise is like the dream of the Buddhist, a nirvana where there is no more personality and hence no conflict. It is the expression of man's wish to triumph over reality, over becoming. The artist's dream of the impossible, the miraculous, is simply the resultant of his inability to adapt himself to reality. He creates, therefore, a reality of his own. In the poem, a reality which is suitable to him, a reality in which he can live out his unconscious desires, wishes, dreams. The poem is a dream made flesh in a twofold sense, as work of art and as life, which is a work of art. When man becomes fully conscious of his powers, his role, his destiny, he is an artist and he ceases his struggle with reality. He becomes he becomes a traitor to the human race. He creates war because he has become permanently out of step with the rest of humanity. He sits on the doorstep of his mother's womb with his race memories and his incestuous longings, and he refuses to budge. He lives out his dream of paradise. He transmutes his real experience of life into spiritual equations. He scorns the ordinary alphabet, which yields at most only a grammar of thought, and adopts the symbol, the metaphor, the ideograph. He writes Chinese. He creates an impossible world out of an incomprehensible language, a lie that enchants and enslaves men. So, this was one of the quotes that I just. There's so much to unfold. There's a lot of things to just talk about when I read this. Because each time that you read it, you learn something new. I had never gone into religions as in Buddhism, but when I got gifted a book by a friend of mine, when I read it, it struck me a lot. So reading this now, like I said, you learn new things. I would like to say what my thoughts are in this, but they keep changing. My thoughts keep changing each time I read something new. So I would read one more Henry Miller quote that I loved, that I guess I had here. So I don't know if it should be this one. I think there was another one if I remember. I know there was another one. I don't know if I can find it. I remember what's the word? I remember. Oh, I do not have it. Wait. Sorry, I had the urge to sneeze. So Henry Miller kind of poked at my brain and made me realize way of thinking I have already explored but had yet to embody. So is one really alive if they don't live out their passions? So when I read this, I kind of made me think, how can I say that I am at peace within myself if I'm not embodying the type of person that I wish to become? We live in a society where we are expected to be a certain way or act a certain way or like certain things. It's kind of like it's like a copy and paste. Like I said, we to each their own. I could care less how people decide to live their lives. It does not affect me whatsoever. So after reading this book, I got this little push that I didn't thought that I needed. Sorry. I started being more consistent with the kind of person that I wanted to embody. Because you can have all sorts of beliefs, all sorts of thoughts, all sorts of opinions, but if you don't embody them, do they even matter? Because what's the point of thinking a certain way or not acting, just being a certain way if you're not going to embody it? You can say you're a kind person, but you don't actually embody the qualities of being a kind person. You choose who to be kind to, who not to be kind to. So just things like that. So I could go into depth with these kinds of things. I also read I am currently reading. I'm not done with it. Saint Augustine, Confessions. She got it out of Goodwill. It was these books, you're meant to sit with them. You're meant to really absorb what they're trying to say. They're not easy reads, at least to me, as someone who just started reading these sorts of books. But you do get a lot of thought-provoking questions that really help out, not only, like I said, not only to understand yourself, but others, as well to live a life with intention. Just like a phrase I said before, do not react just because you're capable of reacting. So yeah, there's so much more I could say, but my poor phone will explode the moment I try to transfer this video to my computer. And I'm doing it on my phone because my phone has just better graphics than my computer. And yeah, so I think I'm gonna read one more, and that will be the end of this video. I'm very what's it called? I'm very I start talking a lot when I find something that I really enjoy. So I don't know what I should share now, because there's a lot. There's a lot I can share. Okay, this might, I don't know if it affects someone or if you don't agree with me. Like I said, my opinions are subjective. No, I didn't say that, but now we'll be saying it. I should have said that at the start. My opinions are subjective. They're based off from what I read, from what I believe in, from how I've been taking decisions in my everyday life. So I understand if you do not agree with me or if you guys have different opinions. I would love to hear them. Because I'm open to new perspectives, to new ways of thinking, to seeing things in a different way. I love that. Like I said, I watch a bunch of videos of all sorts of types of people that have different perspectives. Because I'm not one thing, I'm a lot of things. I love learning about new things. Because I remember, see, I'm getting off track. A few weeks ago or a month, I came across a video talking about Augustine's Confessions. It was 45 minutes long, a Yale course. You guys should really try that. Free courses on YouTube are Jeff's Kiss. I had never been so drawn into someone's lecture, not even college, the college that I go. So, try to find what you're passionate about. Do not follow what people believe you should follow. Learn on your own terms. And I think that's beautiful. Learning on your own terms, on what you're actually passionate about, what you're interested. It doesn't have to be only one thing. It can be various things. So I should stop now. I will read now. So April 24th of this year. There are days when I find myself deeply wondering, can one still believe in God, live a fulfilling life, and uphold moral values without being bound to a religion? I believe the answer is yes. Faith, in its truest form, doesn't require a label or a congregation. It requires sincerity, intention, and the willingness to grow. What troubles me is not the essence of religion itself, but rather the way it is often practiced. I've witnessed people claim devotion to a higher power, yet speak and act in ways that feel deeply unkind, exclusionary, and at times hypocritical. They speak of love, but withhold it from those who think differently. They preach forgiveness, yet are quick to condemn. It is not all religious people, of course, but there are many whose actions have distanced me from organized faith. I find it difficult to reconcile the teachings of grace and humility with the arrogance and judgment I often see. Still, in recognizing this, I am confronted with my own contradictions. In speaking about these individuals, trying to make sense of the distance between what they say and what they do, I cannot help but wonder, am I not doing the same thing? I too pass judgment, even if I try to soften it. And in that, I find myself just another version of what I critique caught in the very same web. But this awareness only deepens my understanding that none of us are above the flaws we see in others. We are all mirrors reflecting pieces of one another. Some we embrace, others we struggle to accept. We are, at our core, imperfect beings trying to make sense of a world that often feels messy and contradictory. I don't know if I'm saying it right. Yet, I still choose to respect people, even when I don't fully understand them. I believe in the value of every perspective, even those that challenge my own. We need those who agree with us and those who don't. We learn from both, we grow through tension, through discomfort. And though a part of me wishes for a world where we all coexist in perfect peace, I know that our differences give birth to the most thought-provoking questions. Without those contrasts, without the challenges to our beliefs, would we ever seek deeper understanding? If perfect harmony existed, would we still be asking the questions that shape our lives? A quiet hope that perhaps through compassion and open mindedness we could soften the edges of our disagreements. Maybe we don't have to be the same to love each other. Maybe believe, whether they're rooted in religion or in a quiet personal faith, is not about being right, but about being honest, humble, and willing to learn. God made us in His image, but I no longer see that as a mark of perfection. To be made in God's image is not to be flawless. It is to hold divinity and doubt in the same breath, to strive to fail, to love, and to keep trying. To the reminder that we are complex, layered, constantly evolving, and in that complexity lies something far more sacred than perfection. It lies the beauty of becoming. And today I find myself feeling a sense of lightness, a warmth in my chest that feels new, a realization that only grows more profound as I reflect on it. We as humans beings are astonishingly beautiful in our imperfections. We carry the passion to defend what we believe, to speak from the core of who we are. And maybe we don't always see beyond our own gaze, yet in that very limitation lies something extraordinary, our ability to grow, to stretch, to be humble by perspectives not our own. We are condemned at times for our blindness, but perhaps that condemnation is a guide, a signpost posting toward greater understanding. If we are open to seeing it, this thought makes me deeply grateful. Grateful for one more day, not just to exist or breathe, but to learn. To learn about the world that spins endlessly around me and the lives that intersect with mine. I realize again and again that every person holds something worth uncovering, even those I may first resist or question, even those I may fear or fail to understand. We learn from them all, the ones we call good, the ones we deem bad. Each teaches us something, each reveals a piece of what it means to be human. And how happy this realization makes me feel, truly happy, not in the fleeting surface sense, but in the kind of happiness that whispers quietly in the background of life. You are alive, and that means everything. 32 minutes. I need to stop now. So, that is a little bit of, I guess, demonstration of what I write and why journaling is so important to me. I don't think I could put my thoughts into words in the way that I have been doing if I hadn't taken journaling seriously and making healthy habits for myself. I just need to stop speaking. It's gonna turn to 40 minutes. So that is all for today, and I enjoyed this. I believe I will continue to do this, and I will continue to share my journal entries. It's kind of fun. Also, this will help me with my pronunciation with words, because, well, English is not my first language, it is my second. I've been living here in the United States, and I should probably already have a good grasp on how to pronounce certain words, and yet still struggle. So, thank you. Take care, Natalie, and the other people that are watching this. I don't think so, but just in case, hope you guys have a beautiful day, and that, like I said, my videos are not to release dopamine to your brains. It's just to open, just to have a conversation, one-on-one kind of. Well, not really, because I can't hear you, but you can hear me. And great thing that comment sections exist, because if someday, not today, maybe not next year, someone does have a question or a new perspective that they wish to share with me, I would love to read that and reply back if I can. But yeah, that is all for today, and I wish to thank you, Natalie, for taking time, 3-4 minutes to talk. Anyways, I should stop.